Aloha. Are you awake? Are you alive? Is peace and love and joy in your awareness? I'm Rabbi Benjamin, and welcome to the first installment of a series of many videos, which is going to be my attempt to offer to you help, love, light, and an explanation of everything. Well, an explanation of everything that seems to be. We can talk about what is, or we can talk about what isn't. And that's not altogether true. I cannot talk to you about what is. God is, and then we cease to speak. Love is. Truth is true. Nothing else is true. And truth can neither be explained nor described. It can only be experienced. So all that I can talk to you about is what isn't. All that I can talk to you about is what seems to be. All that I can talk to you about is what you seem to be experiencing. So let's begin at the beginning in this explanation of all that seems to be. How did it begin? How did we get into this? It's always going to be difficult to explain what never happened. Science makes an attempt to explain what never happened. Science offers you this theory called the Big Bang. I always wondered, what was it that went bang? What was it that made it go bang at that particular time? Had it ever gone bang before? Has it gone bang since? Is it liable to go bang again at any moment? I work with a teaching called The Course in Miracles, and in the Course there is also an attempt to explain what never happened. There is a lovely sentence in A Course in Miracles that says, "Into eternity, where all is one, there crept a tiny, mad idea at which the Son of God remembered not to laugh." Into eternity where all is one. All is one. Reality is infinite and eternal and one. The Lord our God is one. This is a non-dual teaching, not two, one. Outside of the wholeness of the oneness, there is nothing. There is only the oneness of reality, and you cannot possibly be separate from that wholeness. But into eternity where all is one, there crept this tiny mad idea that maybe all is not one. Maybe I can be separate. Maybe I can be special. Maybe I can get special love from the source of all love. And as soon as that mad idea entered the mind, instead of laughing at it, instead of laughing at the absurdity that I could possibly be separate from the wholeness of reality, instead of laughing at it, there was an immediate moment of guilt. And there was a momentary dream driven by the mind that was driven mad for a moment by the guilt of the idea of leaving the wholeness of reality. Think of it. The guilt associated with the idea of denying wholeness. The guilt associated with the idea of denying the wholeness and oneness of God. Denying the source of all love so that I can be separate and special. The guilt associated with the idea of being a prodigal son. Leaving the source of all and striking out on my own. Denying the will of my Father. Denying the wholeness of the oneness of all that is. And so there's this tiny mad idea that maybe all isn't one. And so now we have two. Instead of one, Now there is something separate from the oneness. And in order for there to be something separate from the oneness, there has to be space dividing these two. And now you have the whole illusion of time and space, because it takes time to traverse the space that separates the two. All of time and space is an illusion. The world that you see has nothing to do with reality. It is of your own making. It's a dream. It's a dream of a mind driven mad by guilt. The guilt of thinking for a moment that it could be separate from God. Sin in A Course in Miracles is defined as the idea of separation. The wages of sin is death. Because this is a dream that is driven by guilt, and guilt cries out for suffering and punishment. It is a dream of separation, loneliness, and death. Guilt is inherent in the human condition. Guilt is inherent in the human condition. And so we seem to have a world of more than 7 billion people, all of them destined to die, all of them destined to lose the ones that they love along the way, all experiencing loneliness and suffering. And there seems to be so much injustice, so much pain, war, sickness, you name it. If God had anything to do with this world, God would be cruel. How could there possibly be a loving, all-powerful, all-knowing God and that be reconciled with this world? That cannot be. If God had anything to do with this world, God would be cruel. God is not cruel. God is love. Reality is safe and sure and kind. You but dream a dream. And even as I speak, you are at home in heaven, aware of your oneness with God and all of creation. Because that's what heaven is. It's an awareness of that oneness. And even while I speak, you are at home in heaven, merely dreaming of exile. It's not a real place. It didn't really happen. God has nothing to do with it. It was a momentary, mad idea. Because for a moment I didn't laugh. And I bought into the guilt of it all. But it never really happened. It doesn't exist. It never did. Reality is safe and sure and kind.